It was supposed to be a dream trip, just a group of friends heading into the dense jungle of South America for a week of camping. They'd signed up for a guided trek with a local guide, someone who knew the terrain and could help them avoid the dangers that lurked beneath the thick canopy. On the first night, everything was fine. They set up camp near a small clearing, and the night sky was beautiful, the stars piercing through the gaps in the trees. They cooked their dinner over an open fire, laughing and telling stories. The guide, a stoic man named Carlos, didn't say much, but watched the forest with a sharp eye, his movements deliberate, almost cautious. By the second night, the mood had shifted. The sounds of the jungle at night were louder, closer. The chirps of insects felt more like whispers. The winds were different, unnaturally still, as though the forest itself was holding its breath. Around the fire, the group tried to brush it off, but even the most hardened of them couldn't ignore the feeling that they weren't alone. Carlos kept his gaze fixed on the trees, occasionally muttering something in Spanish, but the group couldn't catch it. They asked him what was wrong, but he only shook his head, telling them it was nothing to worry about. Around midnight, the first sound came, a low, guttural growl from somewhere deep in the jungle. It wasn't like anything they had heard before, too deep, too unnatural. The hairs on the back of their necks stood up. At first, they thought it was an animal, maybe a jaguar, but it didn't sound like any animal they knew. Carlos stood up abruptly, his face pale. "We need to leave," he said in a low, urgent voice. The group laughed nervously, thinking it was just his superstition, but then they heard it again. Closer this time, the growl, followed by something else, a series of quick, sharp